Previously on Raise Your Value.
A single word, actually. Appreciation. Number one thing, one of the most important factors by far, I would go that extra mile. Being appreciated was 50% more important to them than being paid fairly and having the flexibility to create work-life balance. Preaching to the choir, let's talk about the most effective way to appreciate people so it comes across as authentic and personal to them. I'm going to give you 3 tips and 1 incredible resource. We're going to start from the bottom, we're going to move up. Okay, tip number 1, move from scheduled to spontaneous. A lot of times people schedule their appreciation during quarterly reviews or annual reviews, or maybe you have a weekly meeting and you take time out to appreciate people every week. And that's great. However, what about appreciating people in real time? Don't just save it for when it's scheduled or even when they're expecting it. Appreciate them in the moment when it happens. Number 2, move from general to specific. Things like, you did a really great job, or you were excellent with that client. Their appreciation, but there's nothing tangible about it. And here's a point where appreciation crosses over a little bit into feedback. Because 2 things happen when you give really general appreciation. 1, it might not seem as authentic. You did a great job, might just seem like something you say all the time. Whereas if you say something very specific, hey, Mike, I thought it was really, really effective how you revamped the report for the client and included those extra graphs and charts. Great job. I really appreciated the extra work you did. Now they know that it's very specific to them. Secondly, if it crosses over a little bit into feedback, and if you just say to someone, hey, great job, they don't really know what specifically you appreciated, which doesn't allow them to do it again. Whereas if you specifically let them know what it was you appreciated, they can actually repeat it and continue to do a great job. Thirdly, move from generic to personal. Oftentimes, our appreciation is very generic. Maybe we send the same Christmas card to everyone. Maybe when we appreciate people, we buy them a bottle of wine. Or maybe when we appreciate people, we acknowledge them in front of everyone at the weekly staff meeting. What you need to start understanding about appreciation is not everyone feels appreciated the same way. For you to understand that not everyone is appreciated the same way, you're appreciated. Now, an incredible resource for this is a book called The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace, written by Gary Chapman and Dr. Paul White. It talks about 5 different ways that people feel appreciated. Okay, those 5 ways are: number 1, words of affirmation; number 2, quality time; number 3, acts of service; number 4, tangible gifts; and number 5, physical touch. And that for everyone, they have a different relationship with appreciation and how they're appreciated. This is one of those lessons I learned through experience a few years ago. I have a woman that I work with. She's part of one of my business teams. I've been working with her for probably about 4 or 5 years. Incredible woman, hard worker, big heart, willing to go that extra mile. I just greatly, greatly appreciate her, period. Now, one of the things I knew about her was she loves drinking wine. She's also very thoughtful and would often give me these really thoughtful gifts. And so as I wanted to appreciate her, the way that I would appreciate her is I would buy her a great gift. So let's say she went above and beyond. So I bought her a great bottle of wine. And she would say thank you, and I got that she appreciated the gift, but I also kind of felt like it wasn't really landing, you know? And I remember wondering, what's going on? And then one day I was thinking about these 5 appreciation languages, and they're actually based on a book called The 5 Love Languages, originally written about how to effectively appreciate people in relationships. And that's all business is, right? It's relationships. And so I asked her one day, I said, hey, have you ever read The 5 Love Languages? And she's like, oh yeah, my husband and I love that book. I said, oh really? I said, well what's your top language? And she said, oh, quality time. And I remember thinking, oh, quality time, right? Because here I am, my number 1 appreciation language is tangible gifts. I love it when you give me something that shows that you know me. You know, maybe you listen to some of my interests, you know what I like, and you buy me something. It doesn't have to be expensive, and that's one of the keys with tangible gifts. It's just something that really shows that you know me. So since that's my number 1 appreciation language, I often would tend to appreciate other people the way that I wanted to be appreciated, as opposed to appreciating them the way that they wanted to be appreciated. So I remember when she told me this, I went, oh my gosh. The next time something great happened, I said to her, hey, fantastic job. What are you doing next week? Why don't we find some time to grab lunch, sit down, catch up, talk about stuff? She was like, oh my God, that's great. And I went out of my way to spend time with her. Let her pick my brain, just talk about life, talk about business. And ever since then, I've made a point of creating quality time with her in order to appreciate her for everything that she does. Understanding how important appreciation is to creating effective and successful business relationships. Remember these three things. When you appreciate people, don't have it just be scheduled. Let it also be spontaneous. Don't be general, be very specific. And don't be generic. Be very personal about how you appreciate people. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you to share some comments below. I want you to specifically talk about how are you appreciating people now? Are you appreciating people? What are some of the things you're going to do differently specifically because of watching this video? If you got value out of this video, please pay it forward and pass it on. And if you're not already on the Raise Your Value mailing list, you might want to do that just to make sure you don't miss any future videos, any future insights. As always, I hope this has been valuable for you. It's Milan Gajda, and I'll see you in the next video.